welcome to our channel. My name's Steve. This is Russ.
Hello!
Get out. And welcome to our channel. Basically, we're going to start a new side project today, and this is going to be Theory Basics. And it's going to be like everything you should know as a musician kind of thing. So we're starting off with 101 scales. What is a scale, Russ?
Collection of notes.
Collection of notes, he says. And that is generally correct, yes. If you think about them as like a collection of sounds and intervals, it kind of makes it a little bit easier for the future. So I'm sure you've all heard of like this lovely, happy, triumphant, major sounding scale. If I change one of these notes, for example, I have a new scale. This was Mixolydian. We're not going into all that today, but I'm just showing you that if I tweak a note, if I move a note, if I change an interval, it creates a whole new sound. So there's many types of scales. I'll tell you now in case you ever like hear across them kind of thing in the future. So there's our normal scales, which are our lovely 7 notes. We have pentatonics, which are pence 5. Hexatonics, so these are quite weird. Those are 6 note scales. You have these horrible things called octatonic scales, which are 8 notes, and then you get the root being the 9th, you get these weird sounds. So that was half whole scale. Anyway, we don't need to know that yet. We don't need that. But what we do need to know is the simple scales, the beginning, the ones that make most of the music that you guys will hear, major and minor scales. So let's give you an example kind of thing to show you how important this is. I'm sure we all know this Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. If I change one of these notes, if I change the intervals, you'll see what I mean. So if I play it like this, oh no, it's not happy anymore, it's not great, it's really sad. If I change it to, oh dear God. So this is how important scales are. We need to know the correct notes. And the way you learn this is to know something called a tone row, which is basically how far the next note is across the scale. So if I'm starting on C, for example, let's do it on here so you can kind of see how I shift it up. So this is a C. I'm going to do C major first. This moves up from our first note up a tone, which is 2 notes. It's really nice on the fretboard because it's literally like, whoa, 2 frets. Really nice and easy. So this is our first step. So this is a tone. So it's gone C to a D. And this is moving up a tone. If I go up a tone again, I get to the major third. So far I have this. After this, I move up a semitone. Now a semitone is a movement of 1. It's just sliding up 1 fret and moving up 1 note, however you want to do it. This leads to our 4th. This leads to the perfect 4th. From here, we go up a tone, which goes up to the 5th. From here, we go up a tone again, up to this major 6th, and then we're going up to the 7th before you can kind of hear it wants to resolve back to our root. So you get like this sound. And this is our major scale. You can play this in any note, any position. If you follow that pattern, it will create the same scale. So for example, if I start on a G, so I get G, up a tone, to an A, up a tone, to B, up a semitone to C, up a tone to D, up a tone to E, up a tone to F sharp, and then a semitone will always lead us back home. Yes! And that is our major scale. The important thing to know from that is it goes up tone, tone, semitone. I can even do this, probably, hang on, which way should we go? This way? Do you think this way? So tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. I'll come in there somewhere before we get back to our same note. So you'll notice it'll be 7 notes, the 8th note being what's known as the octave, hence why it's called octave. So that is our major scale. And you can do exactly the same thing for a minor scale. Minor scale will sound sad now, because it's a sad version of our scale. The reason is because we have these sad intervals, and the main one is something called the third. All tonality from a scale will come from the third. third and seventh mostly, but it's that third. If I change, like the example that I played, that Twinkle Twinkle, everything sounds normal until I change this. This is our third. I suppose you can change the seventh. It gives it a different twang kind of thing. That's how important the third is. So the third is same for chords, arpeggios. When you look into modes eventually, you'll notice if it has a major third or a minor third, it'll make it sound happy or sad. So for a minor scale, we have our root notes. We'll do it in C again so you can kind of see. There was no pun there, my bad. So C will go up a tone. That goes to a D again. Now we go up a semitone. This is E flat. So can you hear it? This is sad now. This was what we had. Nice happy sound. Oh no, a terrible sad sound. From this minor third, we now go up a tone. This goes up to F. We go up a tone, up to G. Then we go to up a semitone. Now this is a different note to what we had. Originally we had an A, which is the major sixth. Now we're going to A flat in this case, which is a minor sixth. I hope you can hear again. This kind of created another sad sound. From our minor sixth, we're going up a tone. This will lead to a B flat, which is known as the minor seventh. Before we get back to our root, which again resolves it all, our eighth note. So hopefully you can hear that. I'll do it one more time. So from the root, we go up a tone, we go up a semitone, tone, tone, semitone, and tone, and then tone back to the beginning. Right, can I have my trusty assistant's hand, please? Careful, gentle, gentle. Whoa! Oh, so funny. Right, look at this. I have a whiteboard today. Look at this. So I'm going to show you how to create your major scales if you follow this rule. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to write out our musical alphabet. Whoa, this is. Okay. So here I have written out all our notes, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. This is our musical alphabet. Some of these notes have sharp or flats in between. So A has a sharp, which is also known as B flat. B does not have a sharp, and C does not have a flat. We have C sharp, we have D flat, D sharp, E flat. E does not have a sharp, and F does not have a flat. However, F sharp and G flat do, and then we have G sharp, which is the same as A flat, before getting back to A. So if you want to create a major scale, if you follow this important thing, this tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, it will create a major scale. Now the best way to do this is if you imagine you have a note in a question mark and a note in a question mark over here. If you've done it correct, you will land upon the same note. So let's give you like an example. So I said G, for example. If I do G, put it in a square, G is here. Up a tone is a movement of 2. I'll write that down somewhere. Or put it on the board, boom, a tone is a movement of 2 semitones. So from the G, we are moving up 2. Now watch this magic trick. 1, 2, that leads to a note of an A. From the A, we're going up 2, 1, 2, that will lead to the B. Now, this is the important thing. It doesn't matter what note you're on or how far you're moving, it's the movement of that semitone. So B to a C, even though it's physically a new note, it is a note of a semitone, a movement of a semitone. So this will lead to C. Up a tone, 1, 2, will lead to a D. Up another tone, 1, 2, will lead to an E. Now watch this, movement of 2, 1, 2. Now this is F sharp. Note, it is not a G flat. No G flat. Russ, do you know why it's not G flat and we call it F sharp? Do you know?
It's not in the scale.
Because it's not in the scale, yes. The main reason is we have to have the alphabet going all the way across. Note this, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. I have every single physical note in our alphabet. I don't want to go G flat, then G. There are some scales that we do talk about that does use this, but that's years down the line. We don't need to know that. That's called enharmonics. We don't need to know that. So this is why we have every note, and that's why it's so important to actually know what notes are in what scale. We don't want to be that person who goes, oh, play that G flat in G. No, we don't want that.
Oh, me.
So that would work for every single major scale, that tone row. Now the important thing is eventually you need to learn that this is 1, major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, this, I'll get rid of you, we don't need to know that now. Major seventh before we get back to our root. This is should we say, our intervals, which we'll talk about in the future. So, let's do a different one. Actually, no, let's do a question for you. So, and you can pause this, that's the great thing about YouTube. D major. See if you can figure out D major. You can pause this. Go! I'll try and be still. Just play some music. Anyway, of course you pause that and then carry on. So, yep, figure out the notes in D major. So D would go up a tone to E, up a tone to F sharp, semitone to G, tone to A, tone to B, tone to C sharp, and then a semitone back to our D. Cool, and that would work for any scale. Russ, give me a note. Work out a scale.
Oh, F.
F. Mental. You are mental, mate. F. Okay, see if you can figure it out. Okay, go. So F. Up a tone will go to G. Up another tone will go to A. Up a semitone. Now this one's careful. So we're going A. We can't repeat this A, so we can't have A sharp, hence why we call it B flat. Up a tone will lead to a C, up a tone will lead to D, up a tone will lead to E, and then a semitone will get us back to F. Majors. Right, let's talk about minors. Oh no, crap. Oh my god. I told you this would happen, I told you.
Working it.
Right. Is that all okay? I don't know if that's okay. Right. Minors. So a minor follows this. It goes tone. Oh god. Tone. Oh no. What am I about? Look. Distracted now. It goes up tone, semitone, tone, tone, semitone, tone, and tone. And again, if you think about these in these boxes, you will create your minor scale. So let's do an example we have not talked about. Let's do G. Oh no, we've done G. Let's do G. Let's do G anyway. Okay. So G in a square, up a tone. So G movement of 2, 1, 2 will lead to A. I'm going to use this one next. A up a semitone. Again, we can't repeat a note, so this is why we call it B flat. Up a tone from B flat, 1, 2 to C. Up a tone, 1, 2 to D. Up a semitone would lead to E flat, as we can't repeat a note. E flat up. A semitone would lead to F, then a tone would lead back. Why am I drawing a question mark? Will lead back to G. And again, it's so important to know that this scale follows the intervals of this: 1, 2, minor third, 4th, 5th, minor 6th, and minor 7th. Now, here's a hint, here's a tip for you. Note that this note is not an F flat, one that doesn't exist, but even though the interval is asking for a flattened 7th, a minor 7th, it doesn't mean the note has to be flattened. Basically, because we're in the key of G, G has F sharp. Basically, we're flattening this guy. F sharp is falling down a semitone, and that will land to an F. Okay, so I hope that gives you some understanding of major and minor scales. Just take your time. Don't be scared to think about this like a little bit like maths. Try and apply it onto your instrument so you can hear how they sound. And you okay? You okay there? Yep, okay, he's fine. He just did a little trip. Always remember, you have to have the alphabet running through. That's top tip number 1. And don't be scared to do your workings out. Don't be scared to draw out your musical alphabet and to know where these semitones and tones lie. So hopefully you like this. Please leave us a comment. Give us any suggestions for any questions or anything you want to see in the future. Get out. Get out. Hit the like. I forgot that one. Okay. Pow pow. Hit the like button. Hit the oh, there's a dislike button. No. Oh, subscribe. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, hit the subscribe button. I don't even know what you're hinting. Hit the subscribe and touch the bell. Thanks. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.